What's up, guys? Nintendo Craft Studios here, and CS7 whatever. And today I'm going to be reviewing Yoshi's Crafted World for the Nintendo Switch. So let's get going. Yoshi's Crafted World. Now, just like all the other reviews, I'm going to explain my history. I played through all of Yoshi's Island on the Super Mario Advance 3 Game Boy Advance game a few years ago. I played all of Yoshi's New Island and didn't necessarily like that one, and I played a little bit of Woolly World. I never really got into it enough. However, with the release of Crafted World, I felt it's time to actually get into this game and really beat it and do this review, which is what I'm doing right now. So let's get into the presentation. Now, the game is basically another 2D side-scroller. Well, 2.5D. We'll get into that a little bit later. Where you basically run around levels trying to get to the goal. I mean, very simple stuff. It's a normal side scroll, but we'll get into that later. And the graphics. Now the graphics in the game look great. I mean, even regardless, I don't necessarily think it looks the best it could be in handheld mode. I don't know. It's still fine in handheld mode. It's just a very minor nitpick. But back to the graphics, let's start off with the art style of the game, which is probably one of the biggest things that I can talk about. This right here is Yoshi's Crafted World, and as it says in the title, everything is made of arts and crafts. I'm gonna be honest, I like this a lot. I like this a lot more than Woolly World. I mean, Woolly World looked cool with all its yarn, but this game just looks so cool. It's basically a 3D diorama from like elementary school. I gotta be honest, it looks so cool. And the fact that every level looks different from one another, that just makes things even better because there's more variety. So in terms of graphics and presentation, easy plus up. Now let's get into the story. Now, I really don't expect much of a story, and to be fair, it's not really much story to begin with. It's fine enough. I don't really play games for story. Really, the only thing is that there's that the Yoshis and Kamek / Baby Bowser get into a tug of war over this stone of some kind, and then it gets split, and then 5 of its gems, like on the inside, somehow like split up across the land, and you, as the Yoshis, have to go after those gems before Kamek and Baby Bowser get to them. Very basic stuff. It's not really much of a deal breaker. It's just an incentive to just move forward. But let's get into the next thing, gameplay. Now this gameplay is very similar to the other Yoshi games. You run, you jump, you ground pound, you eat foes to produce eggs, and you can throw eggs at enemies. However, like I said before, I said this game is more of a 2.5D scrolling game. Why is it? Well, it's because it's not necessarily completely 2D. See, there's multiple paths you can take, so you're not always going to be going right or left. Sometimes you might actually be going some other direction. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's kind of like a 3D game, but a 2D game at the same time. You can see it on screen right now. Probably a bad example, but you can move around a lot more. Like, it looks a lot better, and I don't know, it just looks so good. Like, I honestly do feel like they could have made this a 3D game, but it's like, I don't know, the fact that you can go along many paths definitely makes this game stand out across all the other 2D side-scrolling games out there. But that's not all in terms of the gameplay. You can throw your eggs, however, new to Crafted World, you can throw eggs into the foreground or background, or essentially anywhere you want. You can basically have this cursor that, instead of being one of those timing cursors like in the previous games where you had to time it properly, this time you can move the cursor all around the place and then hit the button to where you want to throw your egg. Very, very simple. This gameplay is really fun, and it really does make things a lot better in the game. Now, but the gameplay isn't going to be the best without good controls, right? Well, don't worry. This game controls great. Everything just works so fine. Not even much to say about. Except for one thing. And this is, again, another very minor nitpick. It's the simple fact that you can't use gyro controls for the cursor when you're throwing your egg. Sometimes it just takes a long time to get it to where you want it to go. And I feel like gyro would work better in certain instances, but it's not a deal breaker or anything like that. It's just a little minor nitpick. But regardless, controls are great in the game. Next, let's move into content. Now, this game is $60. Well, this is not the longest game out there. Essentially, if you want to beat the game, it's going to be around 7-ish hours, maybe 8-ish hours. And that's not very long for a game that's $60, right? Well, there is more to the game than just going through all the levels, because with every single level, there's a flip side. And essentially on the flip side, you have to go and find these Poochie dogs, 3 of them, scattered across the level. You have to find all 3 of them and get them to the goal in a certain amount of time to get flowers or something like that. I don't know what they're called, but flowers. We'll stick with that because that's what they look like. Essentially, you can use these flowers to go to more land, or in other words, progress through the game. Now here's probably one of my biggest problems with the game doing this. Essentially, you might be able to get through 2 levels, then you'll be able to go to another mini world. Oh yeah, I should probably explain that. There are not necessarily worlds in this game, but more of mini worlds that consist of 2 levels, but there's a lot more of them. I don't know why they overcomplicate it, I don't know. But anyways, you might complete 2 levels and go to another mini world. But before you can go there, you'll be stopped by this robot, or jack-in-the-box thingy, that wants you to give up some of your smiley flowers. And it's not bad at first because you'll find them pretty easily, but once you run very low on these flowers, it's gonna mean a lot of backtracking. And let me be honest, this is just a little bit much for me. To be fair, it's not the worst thing ever, and they have done this in their other games, like you have to get a certain amount of power moons in Super Mario Odyssey to move to the next kingdom. But the thing is, at least then, you don't have to, unless you really rush through the kingdom, there isn't really a lot you have to do. Like, maybe just go back and get 1 power moon, that's pretty easy to find. The thing with this game, though, is that they require a lot. Like, sometimes you might have to get 20 smileys, but you only have 19. You're gonna have to go back to another level and find another smiley flower or something like that. I don't know. It just makes the game a lot longer than it should be. And I can understand why they did it if they were going to try and just make the game longer, but I personally just do not like this at all. I think this really should be fixed for the next game, but this is my main nitpick. And that's pretty much it in terms of content. Yeah, it's not a very long game. I would say in terms of content, it's alright, but it's very small. Like, I don't know. I know they put work into this game, but I mean, look at Tropical Freeze. Look at how much art was made into that game. And that game is longer than this game. Oh well. At least the music's pretty good, right? Well, here's another problem. It's not the biggest problem ever because I don't really care much. This game's music is not good. It's so bad. Like, it just sounds odd. I don't even know. It just doesn't sound good. Nothing is catchy. The main theme is basically just played over and over with different instrumentation. But the main theme isn't even that catchy anyways. It's just blah. Music is not the best in my opinion. And now, let's finally get into the final thoughts. Well, my final thoughts. Who wrote this script? Oh, me. Do I think this game is a good game or a bad game? Personally speaking, I think Yoshi's Crafted World is a fun game to sit down with. It's a fun game to just play. However, I don't really know. There's problems with this game. I do like the game, but I feel like there are things that should be improved. I don't know. And the biggest problem, and the thing that I may as well address, is that this game was delayed an entire year. This game was supposed to release last year, however was held back to this year. I really don't feel like it was worth the wait. I think we should have gotten this game last year. I think that's the biggest problem. But regardless, I'll judge it for what it is, and on my scale of 0 to 10, I give this game a 6.8 out of 10. It's good, but it's not great like it should be. Oh well. So yeah, that was my review on Yoshi's Crafted World. Yeah. So anyways, make sure to let me know in the comment section if you guys agree with this, and also like and subscribe if you guys want to see more of these gaming reviews videos, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care.